Let's go.
Improvisation, the most widely practiced of all musical activities, is probably the least recognized or understood. Vague descriptions like making it up as you go along or playing off the top of your head give no idea of the pervasiveness and the power of improvisation in music. Perhaps the air of mystery that surrounds it is inevitable. Improvisation is to do with change, adjustment, development, elusive ideas. It isn't any one style of music. It doesn't belong to East or to West. But it is the creative force in these and many other musics. It's present everywhere, in the most complex musical designs and in the earliest attempts at music making. Improvisation is the working musician's most useful tool. It enables him to play any time, in any place. In this city where so much of the story of jazz has unfolded, the subways are filled with the sounds of jazz classics. The music of Charlie Parker has had a lasting influence, and so have many of the musicians who have played with him. One of the founding fathers of modern jazz drumming is Max Roach. In the Harlem School of the Arts, the next generation has a rare opportunity to attend a Max Roach masterclass.
Can I have your attention, please, everybody? All right, here's how we improvise spontaneously in jazz. First of all, there are three elements involved in music. Of course, that's rhythm, melody, and harmony. The way we deal with improvisation in our music is highly technical, but you can break it down so we can do it right here. Now, we pick a subject. The subject might be a 12-bar blues. I'm going to do a piece, and we're going to rehearse it. The piece is called Mop Mop. Yeah. Now, we're not going to sing it. We're going to clap our hands. I'm going to play on the drums. Da-da-da-da. Delly da dat, delly da dat, dat, clap, clap. Delly da dat, That, that. That. Very, very good. Let me try it on the drums here. All right. That is the theme that I'm going to improvise on it. But each time when I come back to the theme, I'll expect you to do your mop mop. Ready? Here we go. It's going to be just a little bit faster. Here we are. Now I improvise. Excellent, excellent. All right. I found that in the music that I grew up with, in the church where I first started, and they call those the gospel singers, it was all improvised. I listened today from Ella Fitzgerald, Bessie Smith, to Mahalia Jackson, to Aretha Franklin, to, of course, the younger singers today, even up into Michael Jackson and folks. There's a lot of improvisation that goes on. In the case of jazz, for example, the reason that we have that music in it was, say, if you will, created certainly by people like King Oliver and Louis Armstrong, is because they were denied the opportunity to be formally educated in the conservatories at that time in the United States of America, because the sociological and political situation didn't permit that. Not only economically, they just couldn't afford it. Of course, Louis Armstrong was one of the most profound in that area, because there was never that people writing things down. Even when he sang, it was an improvisational attitude.
Is anyone finer in the state of Carolina? If there is, then you know, show to me. Dinah, the dick I'm blazing, love the city gazing to the eyes of dynamite. Baby, every night, one eye, shake my back, cut my dynamite, change your mind, Bobby, don't you want to China, baby? I'm a China, oh, baby. Oh, Dinah, Dinah.
Great jazz now mostly belongs in the archives, and successors to the innovative giants of yesteryear are nowhere to be found. Kept afloat by the nostalgia industry and the education system, jazz is no longer the expressive force that uniquely combined a revolutionary art with working music.
You hired people who were just there to improvise. And certainly, when you look at from Louis Armstrong all the way up and through Charlie Parker, and today the young rappers, it has to do with the socio-political and economic setup in the United States of America, where the educational system didn't accommodate that their desires, say, to become involved in music, if you will, or any of the other arts. They just didn't have these subjects to deal with in the public educational system. So they came up with different ways of dealing with the world of sound. And sometimes that was good, especially in the case of this music that we call jazz, because we would not have had it had all of us had an opportunity to go to some of the, to be formally educated in the world of sound, you know, and learning, say, the European systems, et cetera, et cetera. But so we had to come up with something, and that's the contribution that still stands. And I'm going to hear each of you improvise a little bit on the set. So you're first. What's your name?
Gerald.
Gerald? Good. Whatever you do is good. All right. Now you go over here, Gerald. You're not going to be as dumb. You have to learn how to first listen to it. It's all right. Go ahead. Oh, she's bashful. On the drums here, I'm going to do something in 3/4 time with my feet. And as long as I retain that rhythm, I can improvise within it. So if I were to say, now that's my rhythm. Now I will improvise now.
Jazz is just one of the many sources tapped by contemporary musicians looking for a highly personal form of self-expression. Butch Morris came to New York as a jazz instrumentalist, but now combines conducting with improvisation. He calls it conduction.
Conduction is the art of the collective imagination. I have a history, you have a history. Everyone here has a personal history, environmental, geographical, that come together to make one thing. I've tried to extend this language of conducting by using improvisers from different backgrounds, improvisers that bring their own theories, improvisers that know what to do and when to do it. It's not a music of paper, it's a music of spontaneity. It's a function within itself, it's an organ within itself.
Butch Morris calls himself a composer on a podium. He believes he does nothing that Herbert von Karajan or Seiji Ozawa haven't done. He's just applying it to a different kind of music making, where a conductor uses a series of signals to organize an ensemble of improvisers.
Okay, but don't try to anticipate what I'm doing. Just like, let's relax inside the music. I know it gets tense because we're like trying to figure out what I'm gonna do or what I'm doing or what I'm gonna do next. But like, we have to relax in the music so we can really get to the music on the other side. Yeah. Let's understand something first. I mean, I'm not in the position of the traditional conductor. I am also improvising. And 80% of the time, I'm improvising based on what I hear the ensemble play. So everybody over here is improvising. We've got the trap in and you've got the trap. Everybody else in here, right in here, is improvising. Ready? Go ahead. Interpretation plays a large part in improvisation. When I give a gesture, a person may interpret that gesture. It may come from the lower part of my body to the upper part of my body, but how a person travels through that particular zone from the lower end of their instrument to the upper end of their instrument depends on how they've interpreted my movements. I'm trying to make this music collective, but I don't want you to entertain yourself here on the bandstand with something you wouldn't entertain yourself with at home. In other words, if you're improvising, I want you to find something that you like playing. I don't want it to just be some kind of any old thing. I don't want it to be any old thing. I can get any old body to play any old thing. When the baton passes you play.
But if you go across kind of low, then it's not.
Everybody that's worked with me before should know that I'm pretty good at making eye contact with you, so you'll know when it's you. Okay, here we are. Okay, now I'm outside. In other words, I'm playing the opposite sides of your body. Stopping. You'll know. Ready? Okay, now, watch everybody. No, Shelley, don't anticipate me, because I'll mess with Marion and I'll come right from Marion and go right into Jason. So don't try to outguess me, please. Okay. This is improvisation. This is collective improvisation. This is conduction. This is conducted improvisation. This isn't necessarily free music. This has a focus, and I am the focus. I expect everybody to give me their undivided attention at all times.
its way into Manhattan, the Roosevelt Island cable car stops beside a flower shop. Sang-won Park was born in South Korea, where he studied classical Korean music. Since arriving in New York, he's introduced Korean music to American audiences. But in order to play his own improvised music, he has to make a living running a flower shop.
I want to be pure, I want to be honest, I want to be spiritual, I want to be peaceful, but always disturbed, so many things. I'm disturbed by many people, fact and life and financial things, a lot of things endlessly disturb me. Then I become very angry and disappointed and you know, so many things make me different from what I want to be. So it is kind of feeling I want to express with my instrument. So I try to be peaceful, but sometimes disturbing, sadness, disappointment, and grief, all this come to me. Then I like to express it. I like to talk about it. But best way to talk about it, my medium is 가야금. I think that's what human emotion, human thought is. That free improvisation is exactly like a stream of consciousness. It come and float, and something come out and disturbing and making and building up and think and solution and that kind of thing is intermingling. It's just emotion built up in my part of my heart.
In contrast to his freely improvised music, Sang-won Park leads a group of Korean musicians in Shinawi, a 2,000-year-old folk music. It originated as an accompaniment to the dance of a shaman and has evolved into a form of collective improvisation. possibility of working with a whole range of people who previously I didn't know. I mean, I'd had no access to them. I didn't know there were such people, and I didn't know there was such music to play. And it also opened up the possibility of developing some kind of music of your own through a playing situation. Previously, that was something that was given only to composers. The composer was the creator. It seemed that here was a possibility of creating and performing at the same time. It's not so much performing, the aspect of performing doesn't interest me at all, actually, but playing, which is a very difficult thing to define, but it's to do with an instrumental attitude towards music, largely. There is a kind of creativity which is attached to playing an instrument, I think, which is not available in any other way. So there's that largely undiscussed and uninvestigated area of creativity in music, which seems to me, I have to say, for my taste, it's the highest form of making music, that instrumentally. And you have to do it through improvisation, of course. The way I play, which has kind of come together through working in a freely improvised music, is in pursuit of a way of playing which is malleable, which allows me to play with anybody I want to play with, or who wants to play with me. And the different parts of the thing can be reassembled in any way. It's kaleidoscopic in that sense, you know, you can throw it up and it comes down a different way and it's all right, it's just as... That's, again, is a personal thing, that's the way I choose to work. But it's always looking for this non-fixed characteristic, this malleable characteristic. Two musicians, say, coming together to play a piece of music, I think has to be interesting, even if the results are not in themselves a great piece of music. The way they find to work with each other says something about music. So you can hear one musician figuring out, you can hear it, figuring out how the other musician works, matching what he does against what the other guy does. Even if it's not working in completed musical terms, but the process can be, I think, one of the most interesting listening experiences you can get. I don't see any aspect of freely improvised music that could be taken by the people who sell music and turn it into a product and sell it. But what do I know? I mean, they're the experts at what sells. But those aspects, regular, repeated, insistent rhythm and melody, preferably exaggerated in its effective parts, are things that we can touch on, but by their nature, we couldn't insist on them in the way that popular music does. I've worked for 15 years as a musician in the entertainment industry, and maybe one of the attractions of freely improvised music is that it's about as far as it's possible to get from all that stuff. Though the ability to improvise is vital for working musicians, even where you might least expect it. Some of the original Nashville studio players are still there. Over the past 30 years, they've played with every name in country music. Buddy Emmons' reputation as a steel guitar player is second to none.
I can't relate to the harmonic bass theory and all that, because my idea of improvisation is this little collection of cliches that I've put in the back of my memory from all of my years of listening. Because that's the way I learned to play this instrument, was buying all the records from Nashville, Tennessee, and trying to learn all the solos that were on various Hank Williams records and whatever record steel guitar were on. That was my learning process. And those records were all based on improvisation. In the early days, when I got here in 1955, this whole town was built on improvisation because there was no sheet music, no number system, nothing to rely on but your memory. You'd listen to a song in the studio before you cut it, and then you'd memorize the whole set of chords.
For many musicians, the recording studio is their workshop. They rarely play anywhere else. And in the Nashville studios, every producer expects his musicians to be able to improvise.
Well, particularly here in Nashville, the process of making records is really dependent on improvisation. The song is determined, and the chords for the song are determined, and not a whole lot more is actually structured than the key, what tune we're going to perform, and what those chord changes are going to be. And we start from there with some basic idea of the tempo and the kind of feel we want for it. But everybody really starts to find their own place in the making of that song really quickly. And there's certainly a certain standard sort of beginning approach to how to do that, but it starts deviating really quickly. And each musician's ability to improvise is probably the most important factor in picking who's going to perform, who's going to play. Their creativity with their instrument, not being relied on to be told exactly what to play, but having a real good sense of musicianship is real important.
In country music, the session players usually accompany the singer. It's the vocalist, the star, who sells the records. But the improvisations are on the backing tracks.
Stop this now.
You want to play it through one time?
The tail that wags the dog.
You want to play it through once?
At
Mark?
least it's a start, I guess.
Yeah, that's a way to start. Let's hear it. An F.
Oh, yeah.
You did you bring your cape?
He
on?
likes F.
I hate that.
He was serious as he could be.
He was serious.
I like F. F is fine.
F?
Play an F.
Well, let's hear this thing. I'd like to hear it.
Play an F. 1, 2, 3.
There's an awful lot of experience that's called upon, but it certainly requires having to make up what it is that's going to be performed from the downbeat. I can give some direction about the feel of the tune and how we want to proceed, but from the time they count the song off,
1, 2, 3.
it really is a combination of invention and experience. I'm pretty convinced that most of what I come up with on my own is relatively boring. So I give them an awful lot of freedom almost right away, and then have to make judgments about whether it's actually better than what I was thinking, worse than what I was thinking, or gee, this is a whole nother area that I have to just think about.
I think in a way in Nashville it seems pretty unrestricted because we don't really read music as we play our solos. So in a way, I think you're always given the first crack to try to come up with your own solo. So that is an improvisation in itself that I think a lot of other musics don't get. You'd have a different explanation of what improvisation really is, but to me, when you're really succeeding, you're almost writing a small melody as you go. You have a melodic sense and you can connect it all in. True improvisation is supposed to be free form and you don't know where it's going. But as you make up a part that relates to country music, as you get to do your solo, you are improvising a certain amount since it's not set in stone. The chords are set and the number of bars are set in the changes, but you pretty much get a free rein.
1, 2, 3.
Five of Nashville's top session men take it in turns to parade their inventions. country music after working in free improvisation.
I started meeting country musicians, and some of them thought I was just horrible and ought to be put in jail, and then there were others that told me, you've kept me sane, because in my gig, I have to play so straight, but then I can put your record on, and it's a liberating kind of thing to hear it opened up like that.
Eugene Chadbourne likes to shock and antagonize his country music audiences. The way he challenges conventional musical taste caused the White House spokesman for President Reagan to describe him as a direct threat to the American way of life.
I liked the spirit and a lot of things about country music. I liked what a lot of the songs were about. Some of them were very humorous, some of them are very sad. They're so vivid, a lot of the lyrics. There's constantly places where you can take something that's in the lyrics and interpret it through sounds, and kind of, it's like you're tearing a hole in the fabric of the thing, and just kind of take off instrumentally. And it drove people crazy.
14 and abandoned, living at the bus station. She's eating sausage out of old boxes, posing for the dirty pictures that the truckers pass around, while the hookers trace their calls. God made country music for good people like y'all. Shotgun blast, a pile of blood. The detectives are still inside. The greaser upstairs with the baseball cap and all the tears that Tammy cried. He spat his teeth out at the start of the fight. Now he's too weak to crawl. God made his country music for good people like y'all. Six red trucks at Pepper's Den, another 5 at Doug's Misty Lounge. Go all night playing that country music. Don't play a note of no jazz. Play them songs I want to hear, or I'm cutting off your ear. God made country music for good people like y'all. He made his country music. For good people like y'all. And I'd like to thank you all for supporting country music. Thank you for supporting country music. Supporting country music.
Hello, this is Billy Bragg. I'd like to thank you all for supporting country
Improvisation, the most widely practiced of all musical activities, is probably the least recognized or understood. Vague descriptions like making it up as you go along or playing off the top of your head give no idea of the pervasiveness and the power of improvisation in music. Perhaps the air of mystery that surrounds it is inevitable. Improvisation is to do with change, adjustment, development, elusive ideas. It isn't any one style of music. It doesn't belong to East or to West. But it is the creative force in these and many other musics. It's present everywhere, in the most complex musical designs and in the earliest attempts at music making. Having played a favorite folk tune, Jerry Garcia improvises on it.
When I started playing the guitar, the person I played with was a cousin of mine who had actually had band experience and stuff in school. And we both got guitars, little electric guitars from pawn shops. We were both, I was 15, I think he was 17. We started banging around together, playing around and learning stuff. And he's the first person who I ever heard use the word improvisation. Improvise, you know. What does that mean? It means just make it up as you go along. Oh, what a great idea, you know. So that was my first exposure to it, which also corresponds with my beginning to actually play the guitar. So for me, you know, I don't know. I don't believe that I could play without improvising on some level. That is to say, that I don't plan ahead. I could never bring myself to actually learn something note for note and play it that way more than once. It's maybe deeply rooted anti-authoritarianism. You know, I don't know what it is, but it's something in my personality just won't allow me to do it.
Dead came together as a rock band in the 60s from the Bay Area of California. They play a synthesis of American music, including jazz, folk, and blues. Basically a touring band, they see their audience of Deadheads more as extended family than rock music consumers, almost part of the band itself. One reason the Dead command such loyalty is that they perform a different program each night. And within that program, each number is altered through instrumental invention every time it is performed.
If if you say, what we're doing here is we're inventing this as we go along, and you are involved in this experience, and it's never going to be this way again. This is it for this particular version of it. There's value to that, and I think our audience is a proof of that. These are people who come back to every performance. If we do 10 days somewhere, a lot of them will be back every night. They know that it's going to be different every night. The band that I'm in, remember, I mean, everybody has the same disease that I have, which is the inability to do something exactly the same way twice. Sometimes it drives you nuts, you know. I mean, if you're composing something and you feel that there's a delicate little interaction that you want to hear, and you always want to hear it, forget it. You know, it doesn't happen in the Grateful Dead, but other stuff does, which is much more wonderful. But you have to be prepared to relinquish a certain amount of your ego involvement with it. You can't, you know, it doesn't help to think of that you're doing real great. You know, it's not necessarily, and it also doesn't help. A lot of times, too, this is another interesting thing. My perception of what's a good night for us may be totally different from everybody else's perception. The audience sometimes has a great night listening to us struggle, feeling that we never quite get together. Sometimes we struggle the whole night without ever feeling like we've really agreed on anything. And sometimes the audience loves that. For them, sometimes that's the best stuff. So reporting is difficult. This starts to bleed over into aesthetics, like what's good music and what isn't. It starts to get into the world of totally random observations. Our best playing publicly. We don't do our best playing privately, which is backwards from a lot of musicians. There aren't very many bands, certainly, that play rock and roll where improvisation is a large part of what they do. What you have now, masquerading as rock and roll, is in reality safe, popular music that's largely the work of producers and less the work of musicians. The music business is basically economics. It's basically the thing of when you make a record, you want players that don't make mistakes. You don't necessarily want players that take chances. You want players that don't make mistakes. So because economically that means less time in the studio, you get what you want on the record, and it's, you know, it's safe and it's perfect. And that's kind of been the thrust of music production and popular music, which has sort of co-opted rock and roll. Our audience, I think, illustrates that there's a lot of people who really want a musical experience rather than to be performed at. To my mind, most of performance stuff is really show business. It's entertainment in the sense that there's the passive audience and there's the active performer. And the performer has a show, and they do the show in the same sense that a play is a show. And while it may change, it may vary slightly from performance to performance, it's pretty much the same thing. And that's what most performers gear up to do. That's what their management encourages them to do, and that's what the music business as a whole encourages them to do. So there's really no opening in there. You know, the music business, which has almost nothing to do with music, doesn't encourage improvisation, doesn't encourage taking chances, and it doesn't encourage music which is experimental in nature. It just doesn't. I used to listen to early blues, Muddy Waters, and all these Chicago guys. You could get half a dozen young city kids playing the same notes on their instruments, but there's something really scary about early blues records, and it's because each one of those guys who's playing like a two-bar pattern is like a guy that's maybe murdered half a dozen people and, you know, spent 10 years in jail and is, you know, used to packing a gun or a razor, and these guys are mean, these are killers, you know. So, I mean, a killer playing the blues has a little more content than a kid from Palo Alto, you know what I mean? Music is simple, but the emotional power of it is incredible. You know, so there's something about who it is that's doing the playing, quite apart from ability. And then there's ability. I mean, there's also something really wonderful about hearing a really, really accomplished musician playing just beautifully, you know, making up, you know, just improvising and flowing.
The best guitar player alive is how Buddy Guy is described by Eric Clapton, not least for his intense and extended guitar breaks. Buddy had a hard apprenticeship when he first came to Chicago in the 50s, backing Muddy Waters and Howlin' Wolf. Today he hires his own bands, which he never rehearses. There's no script or running order for Buddy Guy. He plays how he feels.
Two legs. Yes, I think I smell a rat in my house, baby. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Honey, I believe he walking around on two legs. make it home and everything will be all right. I stayed out late last night. Woo! Lord, and I thought everything would be all right. You know, when I came home this morning, yeah, baby, all we did is fuss and fight. I think I could play it if I go to it, because I play what I feel, and I play with the feeling, and I'm self-taught, and I play by ear. And whatever strikes my mind or brains or whatever it is to do this, I do this. And when I do it with my best. And we have different ways of expressing the blues. Some people can talk it, some can sing it, and some can play it. Some can own it, some can groan it. And throughout my whole career, I have lived the blues, I have slept the blues, and we have a way of explaining it through songs.
Can we do it? Can we, so what?
Junior Wells has played with Buddy Guy on and off for 30 years. For many people, they are Chicago blues.
Let's go home. I think it's almost impossible to play the same at all times, because when I pick the guitar up to play for an audience, I go after the audience. And what I did last night may not reach them tonight, to make them get that jump in the seat or show me that big smile. So I have to sit there and say, it's like a prize fighter. You know, the guy fights this guy this style because he know how to get to him this style, but the next guy you got to change because this guy done figured that out. So I don't want anybody to figure out my playing before I go out there. So I like to keep a surprise back there waiting for him. And a lot of that stuff, I would say 95% of that stuff come to me. As soon as I walk up on stage and look out there in the audience face, I see myself saying, you got to go do something to make them listen to you. I sit in my dark room, tears rolling down my face. Now, I had tears from the bed. Lord, I don't see how you think I can go on. Lord, baby, I just can't live in this old place.
Chicago has been a focus for black music since early this century. Blues players migrated here from the southern states and developed the Chicago sound. First-generation migrants worked in the railways and stockyards, strictly on the other side of the tracks. But later generations of musicians have had the opportunity to broaden their horizons. Part of that broadening is the interactive computer music that George Lewis makes. A system evolved by George Lewis uses projected images designed by his collaborator Don Ritter, which are manipulated by a computer. The computer is activated by the music played, and it then selects sounds and images which are fed back to the performers. What they play as they improvise governs how the colors and images modulate on the screen.
We want to try to give anyone who came to the space the same kind of experience that we have as improvisers when we play with these machines, you see, to sort of, if we don't want to, I don't want to call it humanizing the machine, but to break up the fear and loathing aspect that comes with the computer, especially because the computer has been so oversold in this society. It's not like the way people think about computer music today, I think basically coming from pop music, where you push a button and a bunch of shit comes out, you know. Whereas with me, you sit there and you listen for things to happen, and you have influence over what happens, but you can't just push a button and make something happen. That's not how you play with people. That's not how you work with people in in anything. You know, that's the sort of, I mean, the model for the push a button and get a programmed response is like, you know, the military or something. You know? Whereas with like freely improvised music, you got to give people their space. You have to listen to what they're doing. You got to try to figure out what's going on. And though the machine is sort of I'm trying to make the machine do that in some ways. Now, I'm not saying it's doing it on the same level as I am. See, that would be some sort of artificial intelligence, something like that. I don't think I want to say I'm doing that. It's more like adapting. You get it to adapt to the situation that it finds itself in. And sometimes it's successful, and sometimes it's wildly unsuccessful. And when you don't like, and that's dependent upon, of course, you in a way. You decide, because you got to play with it. But you see, the thing is, if it's not successful, you can't just say, okay, well, I want more of this, and there's like 200 parameters, you know. So instead of going through all that rigmarole, just start playing what you want. That way, you see if it'll work. As you learn more about programming, you learn to translate your musical thoughts into this symbolic language, and then to listen for the results. What you hear before you hear the notes, before you hear the tones, what you hear is, what's the style of music here? Where is this music coming from? Who does it relate to? You know, sometimes when I listen to an improviser play, you hear a lot. You hear like, you hear about how long they've been playing. Sometimes you can hear who they played with, who they studied with. You know, the types of things they're interested in. You can hear whether they're fearful, whether they're happy. You can hear all these amazing things. And then you can, with any one of those things that you detect in the music, non-verbally, you can sort of draw what I think of as rays of intentionality away from that to, you can go just about anywhere. It's sort of a multi-dimensional net, N-cube, if you like. You can go from any point to any other point.
George Lewis moved a long way from Chicago's South Side when he first studied philosophy at Yale and then computer music at IRCAM in Paris. A product of those years is the kalimboscope, which he developed with David Berman. Here again, a computer offers an interactive experience for the player. It produces images to complement the sounds triggered by the keys of an electronic mbira. It's the high-tech version of one of Africa's most popular musical instruments. Children are instructed in how to make their mbiras at a primary school in the countryside of Zimbabwe. Their teacher is keeping alive a way of instrument making that has survived for 1,000 years.
Vana, munoona tinotora zvinhu zvese tichimboita zvokuita. Hatina mari yokuti tinogona kutenga zvinhu izvi. Saka tinosevenzesa zvatinazvo zvatinenge tawana. Zvakaita semaplastic, asi ganda rembudzi, aiwa, kuti tiite mubvuto. Saka tinoisa chiplastic zvedu tichivhutira moto, zvingova zvimwe chetezvo, simbi dzedu dzichitsvukawo, semasukira dzingangoita kana tiine mubvuto chaiyo. hatigone kuwana mari yakawanda yekuti tingatenge zvinhu izvi asi tinoita ndozvatinenge tawana zvatinonhonga musango toita. The importance of the mbira is that it has been an instrument to keep us in connection with our spirits. It is a means, it has been a means of communication between the living and the dead. When the mbira instrument is played, you know, it calls the spirits to come and talk to us, and that way we communicate. It has been like that ever since, and we have to follow what our forefathers left us. For example, when I am playing a tune in a certain rhythm, then one can come in keeping to the same rhythm, but either playing it faster or slower than what I'm doing. So that we're easy trying to improvise. The equivalent for improvisation is kutsinira. Kutsinira, that means, you know, when I am playing the basic pattern on the mbira, the one who plays the kutsinira brings in a variation to go with that. There could be a third one with a different variation again, or a fourth one. So all those three are vatsiniri, improvisers. A good mbira player has got a lot of, you know, improvisations in the mbira playing. He thinks of so many rhythms and so many variations to bring into the music. Whereas one who's not a very good mbira player, I would call him a rigid player. He's not flexible yet. And such a player cannot play for the spirits. They don't want it.
The children are enacting a spirit ceremony where they effect falling into trance. Ancestral spirit ceremonies are still a central force in the lives of their parents, and their teacher is subtly encouraging the children to follow in the ways of their ancestors. In the sparsely inhabited hills, close to the border with Mozambique, villagers prepare for an all-night spirit ceremony called a bira. It will start on the evening of the full moon. A bira is more than just a ceremony. It is a powerful statement of identity for the Shona people of Zimbabwe. The hosho, which are hollow gourd rattles, control the rhythm, while the mbira instruments, covered by resonators, link the earthbound to the spirit world. Their aim is to attract an ancestral spirit into the body of the medium, who has been asked to cure an illness that afflicts one of the family. These Shona believe all misfortunes arise through having offended the ancestors. So the family members have asked the medium to placate the angry spirit. Gradually, the sounds of the mbira put the participants into trance. Everyone hopes the musicians will find a tune the spirit favors.
You know, most spirits, they've got their, their favorite songs. And most of them, when they died, they had their own songs which they used to like when they were still alive. So when they come back as spirits, they want to hear the same songs. So for us musicians, to know which song is liked by that spirit, sometimes it's a problem. But some spirits, they don't say which song they like. They just dance till you play the song which that spirit likes, and then the spirit will come out.
But throughout the night, there are moments of quiet reflection when the spirits are encouraged to descend. So important are these ceremonies to the Shona that during the struggle for independence, the white authorities tried to outlaw them. The missionaries banned much mbira playing, equating it with forms of devil worship. The army imprisoned, even hanged, spirit mediums who offered help to the freedom fighters by giving them the support and authority of the ancestors during ceremonies like these. The mediums fed, protected, and guided them.
Zvamunoona makoronga namakomaya ndo dzakanga dziri dzimba dzatanga tichihwanda. Vazhinji vedu vakaparara, vashoma vakasara nemhaka yekuti vakanga vasingadi kuona vanobikira varwi venyika verusununguko vachivabikira kuti tive tingasununguka kusvika pari nhasi.
Today, there's a resurgence of Shona identity. It can be seen in rituals like this bira.
In our society, mbira is not limited. Our music is not limited. You are not asked to play in a certain way. You can improvise in any way in our music. So now for these variations, you get the encouragement from the people, from the dancers. The way they dance, when you look at them, you enjoy it. And then you find yourself just playing the variation. They just come. I'll play the simplest song, which is Mahororo.
get more excited, when I get into the mood. I don't know how it happens, we get these variations from the dancers, the way they stamp their feet. When we are looking at them, we enjoy what they will be doing. So from there, that's where we get the improvisations from.
Players inspire the family to dance through the night and help identify the spirits. As the medium becomes possessed, her spirit is brought water, a symbol of ancestral life. Spirit fights to take possession of the medium's body. It is a lengthy and painful process. Other, lesser mediums support her. The musicians have identified the spirit's favorite tune, so they vary and embellish it while the ancestor enters the medium. By this time, everyone is involved.
Tinoziva kuti nguva ino yavasekuru tinonzwa namasimba acho kuuya kwemweya nokuti kana wakunzwa mwoyo uchidedera nebvudzi richisumuka unoziva kuti vasekuru vakuuya. Kana vari mbuya unonzwa kuneta kwenyama, wonzwa zvakare ushomvu hwekureketa unenge usingachadi, wozwa kuti ndimbuya vakuuya. Asi hatina ruzivo nazvo mauriro azvino.
Mbira music has more recently become part of the sounds of the city. In Zimbabwe's capital, Harare, a suburban beer hall houses an Mbira contest. It features legendary performers of traditional music. The relationship between voice and Mbira is always changing. Each performance by each artist is unique. The singers improvise to keep the audience entertained, always embellishing the storyline, while the musicians improvise to keep the singer on his toes. Gora likes to make fun of his audience. He is famous for making people laugh. singer and musicians have to respond to the audience's reactions. Is one of Zimbabwe's first female stars of the Mbira. Than an instrument for making music. It's a statement of identity for the Shona people as a whole. Several hundred miles from the beers of Harare, the waters of the Zambezi descend from the Victoria Falls. The falls are known as the smoke that thunders by the Tonga people who live in the Zambezi Valley. Funeral celebrations of the Tonga are thousands of years old, using animal horns and skins, and now any other instruments they can lay their hands on. The Tonga are a marginalized people who don't share in most of the world's material benefits. For that reason, perhaps, they have preserved musical rituals lost elsewhere. Of male musicians compete for the women of the village, and the victors will be those who can attract the largest numbers. To surprise, to decorate and entertain, both musically and physically, are the aims of each group of male performers, and the winners will be judged by the size of their female following.
actually the women are united. The 4N group, as long they are good in drumming, they are good in blowing, and they are good in action. If the action does invite more women and does interest women, then they flock to that group and start dancing. Depending on are they good in making songs very fast, or there is somebody who have committed something which others don't like, or something which is unusual, or a fun thing, and you can start singing me when I've done something unusual.
Funeral celebrations are one of the earliest surviving examples of improvisation being valued as a skill. The improvisers are believed to be more exciting, more adaptive, and so they are valued above all their competitors. Whatever the style of music, improvisation has always been influential. It's part of the growth of every contemporary music, helping new technologies become tools of creativity. In a half-demolished school block on the Lower East Side of New York, there's a house party.
Got the momentum in your body, you know, just flow with it.
And we don't do the same thing. This is our particular show. No, we don't do that.
Trying to get people
we try to get people to do it. When we get on stage, when it's time for the show, as soon as we get on stage, it's like, I mean, it's just what we feel. It's what we feel. Coming from the heart. Just like one of the songs from the album, coming from the heart. Come straight from the heart when you do it. Because if you don't come from the heart, then the people, it's going to show towards the crowd. It's going to show. The people feel they was cheated. You see?
Hey there. Funky. Funky.
As soon as the spotlight hits the stage, so everything's from the heart. The scratch is from the heart. You feel that it's not no particular, I'm going to make it sound like this, or I'm going to say this specifically.
It's all originality.
It's all originality. Depends on how the house is. If the house is real hype, then we got something new coming out the sleeves and rock them. If the crowd is dead, then we got to come out of the closet with something that's going to rock them. It's premeditated. Nothing's 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 premeditated.
Let's premeditate.